Have you ever wondered, what does an entire forgotten town look like? For years, this Pennsylvania ghost town has been a secret, a relic of a once thriving community left to crumble. But today we're pulling back the veil. Get ready to witness the eerie remnants and discover the fascinating history of a place time simply forgot.
Hi, welcome back. We're on our way to the Drakewell Museum and the site of the historic Pithole City.
In today's video, we are going to be visiting the site of the historic Pithole City. We're going to walk the streets, and I am going to tell you the history of this town. A town which sprang up within 1 year from nothing to almost 20,000 people.
This is the first street of Pithole. Interesting. Oh, I see a sign up here. Okay. The visitor center.
Unfortunately, when we got there, the visitor center was closed, but we still are able to walk the streets of the old town. Here they have mowed paths for each street, and they have historical markers on the sites of the different places in the city. Now I am going to tell you all about Pithole, what it was, and why it was here, and where it went. Pithole is a ghost town in Venango County, Pennsylvania, about 6 miles from Oil Creek State Park and the Drakewell Museum, the site of the first commercial oil well in the United States. Pithole's sudden growth and equally rapid decline, as well as its status as a proving ground of sorts for the burgeoning petroleum industry, made it one of the most famous oil boom towns. Oil strikes at nearby wells in January 1865 prompted a large influx of people to the area that would become Pithole, most of whom were land speculators. The town was laid out in May 1865 and by December was incorporated with an approximate population of 20,000. At its peak, Pithole had at least 54 hotels, 3 churches, the third largest post office in Pennsylvania, a newspaper, a theater, a railroad, the world's first pipeline, and a red light district the likes of Dodge cities. So I bet you're wondering, what happened to Pithole? If it was so popular, where did it go? To answer that, I'll start at the beginning.
Okay, this is a photo of this spot. Wow. What it looked like.
In 1859, Edwin Drake successfully drilled the first oil well along the banks of Oil Creek outside of Titusville. Within a half a year, over 500 wells were built along Oil Creek in a 16-mile corridor from Titusville to the creek's mouth at the Allegheny River in Oil City. Other wells were drilled down Allegheny towards Franklin and upriver to Tionesta in Forest County. Pithole Creek did not attract the same attention from speculators and investors who preferred to risk their money on tried and true method of drilling on flatter terrain near larger rivers like the Allegheny and Oil Creek, rather than gamble on the rougher terrain. In January 1864, Isaiah Fraser leased 2 tracts of land totaling 35 acres from Thomas Holmden, a farmer along Pithole Creek. Fraser, James Faulkner, Frederick Jones, and Nelson Tappan formed the United States Petroleum Company in April 1864 and started drilling what was dubbed the United States Well, or Fraser Well. On January 7th in 1865, the Fraser Well struck oil. 2 weeks after the Fraser Well strike, the twin wells just south of the Fraser Well also struck oil. In May 1865, Duncan and George Prather purchased the Holmden farm, including the portion still leased to the United States Petroleum, for $25,000 and a bonus of $75,000. The wooded bluff overlooking the Fraser and Twin Wells was cleared and a town was laid out. The town was divided into 500 lots, which were put up for sale on May 24th. By July, the population was estimated to have been at least 2,000. The population of Pithole rose by 15,000 people in September and 20,000 by Christmas. Pithole was incorporated as a borough on November 30th, 1865. As many residents were temporary, Pithole had a total of 54 hotels, ranging from simple rooming houses to luxury hotels like the Chase and the Danforth houses, or the Bonta House located in Pithole City on the bluff on the opposite side of Pithole Creek. The Astor House, Pithole's first hotel, was built in one day. Construction of the hotel was especially poor. A lack of insulation and innumerable gaps in the walls made conditions in the hotel miserable during the winter. At one point, the Pithole Post Office, located on the first floor of the Chase House, was the third busiest in the state of Pennsylvania, behind Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. 3 different churches, Catholic, Methodist, and Presbyterian, were constructed by their respective congregations. Pithole's local newspaper, the Pithole Daily Record, was started on September 5th, 1865. The largest building in Pithole, the 3-story, 1,100-seat Murphy's Theater, opened on September 17th. Among all the glamour, every other building in Pithole was a bar. Prostitution was rampant in Pithole, with most of the brothels built along First Street. Although the Borough Council passed ordinances banning the trade and carried out raids in an attempt to enforce them, they had little impact. As oil production increased through the success of the wells like the Fraser, Twin, Pool, Grant, and the 2 Homestead wells, transportation of the oil to the outside world was still reliant on teamsters. The teamsters were notorious for the mistreatment of their horses, most of which lost their hair due to a buildup of oil and only had a lifespan of a few months in Pithole. The high mortality rate caused a horse shortage, with more having to be brought in by rail from Ohio and New York. Teamsters often refused to work on days when the roads were impassable or gouged oil producers. Various investors, fed up with the Teamsters, pooled resources and built a plank toll road from Pithole to Titusville. Samuel Van Sickle, an oil buyer, also frustrated with the Teamsters, designed the world's first pipeline, which opened on October 9, 1865. The 2-inch diameter, 5.5-mile-long pipeline connected Pithole to the Oil Creek Railroad and was initially able to transport 81 barrels per hour, operating with 3 steam engines, the equivalent of 300 teams working a 10-hour shift. A 4th engine brought the pipeline's maximum capacity to 2,500 barrels a day.
I don't know what that means.
The Pithole Branch Railroad was opened on December 18th and was renamed the Pithole Valley Railway.
Oh, Willie's Men's Clothing. There it was.
In March 1866, a chain of banks owned by Charles Vernon Culver, a financier and member of the United States House of Representatives, collapsed. This triggered a financial panic throughout the oil region, bursting the oil bubble. Speculators and potential investors stopped coming to Pithole, and life in Pithole settled down. In the early morning of February 24th, a house caught fire and the flames spread to other buildings by the wind. In 2 hours, most of Holmden Street and parts of Brown and 2nd Streets were reduced to smoldering ashes. The worst of multiple fires occurred on August 2nd, burning down several city blocks and destroying 27 wells. When many oil strikes occurred elsewhere in Venango County in 1867, people left Pithole, often taking their houses and places of business with them or abandoning their property. By 1866, the population had dropped to 2,000. The newspaper was relocated to Petroleum Center and becoming the Petroleum Center Daily Record. Both the Chase House and the Murphy's Theater were sold in August 1868 and moved to Pleasantville. Prather and Duncan sold their interests in Pithole before the downturn. Prather split an estimated $3 million with his two brothers and moved to Meadville, while Duncan returned to Scotland with his fortune. The 1870 United States Census recorded the population of Pithole as only 237. The borough charter of Pithole was officially annulled in August 1877. The remains of the city were sold in 1879 back to Venango County for $4.37.